Hi, my name is Tom Watson. I'm the author of the new Trouble at Table 5 series. This is the first book, and that's the second. I'm also the author of a couple other series for HarperCollins, Stick Dog and Stick Cat. But I want to talk about Trouble at Table 5 here for HarperKids at home. I want to introduce these three characters. This is Simon, Molly, and Rosie. Simon is a goofball who can never keep his mouth shut. Molly gets things stuck in her head sometimes. I'm going to read about that in a minute. And Rosie is the super smart one. So, what I want to do is read the first chapter of this book, and then we'll do a couple activities at the end. We're going to draw together for a minute, so if you want to pause the video and get pencil and paper, we're going to draw it together. And then we're going to play like a guessing game, okay? So here we go. First chapter of Trouble at Table 5, The Candy Caper by Tom Watson. Chapter 1. Things get stuck in my head. I'm Molly. I get things stuck in my head sometimes. I'll give you a few examples. This morning I had Fruit Loops for breakfast. Fruit Loops come in 6 different colors: red, orange, yellow, green, purple, and blue. When I poured the dry cereal into my bowl, I took the purple and green ones out. That's because purple and green remind me of grapes. And I don't like grapes because they come in big bunches, and it's hard to tell how many are in a bunch. I like to know how many things there are. That's just me. So I only had red, blue, orange, and yellow Fruit Loops in my bowl. I ate all the blue ones first. It's kind of hard to get only blue Fruit Loops on your spoon, but it's worth it. When I only had red, orange, and yellow Fruit Loops left, I just ate them all. They could be mixed up. That's because red and yellow make orange, so those Fruit Loops are allowed to be together. See what I mean? Oh, I also couldn't be done until I knew all the Fruit Loops were gone. A couple illustrations. I needed to know that there wasn't one hiding beneath the milk at the bottom of the bowl. I sort of splashed my spoon in the milk to make sure there wasn't one left. My dad asked, "Molly, what are you doing?" "I'm making sure there aren't any more Fruit Loops in my bowl," I answered. "It's important." This made perfectly good sense to my dad. Both my parents understand me very well. So do Rosie and Simon. They are my two best friends. Here are a few more examples. The socks in my sock drawer are folded flat. They're not rolled up into balls. Flat things are not supposed to be rolled up. Also, if I start a book, I can't read anything else until I finish that book. I can't read a different book or a magazine or a comic book. I have to finish that book first. And my pillows need to be in a certain order before I get into bed. Here's Molly's dad and an illustration of the socks. The pillows need to be like this: red on the bottom, pink on top, white rectangle, red squishy, pink square. It's just who I am. Now I'm going to tell you about something that got stuck in my head last week at school. Mr. Willow asked me to take the absentee slip to the main office. It's the piece of paper he fills out after taking attendance in the morning. I went to the office and turned the slip into Mrs. Beiersdorfer. We just call her Mrs. B. "Here's the absentee slip, Mrs. B," I said, and handed it to her. "Thanks, Molly," she said, and took it from me. She put it on top of the stack of absentee slips from the other classes. "You're welcome," I answered. But right when I turned to leave, something caught my eye. Something in Principal Shelton's office. Her office is off to the side of the main office. It has a door with a window. There was something colorful in her office, on her desk, in a big glass jar, and it got stuck in my head. We'll read chapter 2 to figure out what's going on. Chapter 2 is titled, Uh-oh. I hustled back to Mr. Willow's class and sat down at our table. I share table 5 in the back with Simon and Rosie. "Uh-oh," Rosie said. Rosie is a nickname for Rosa. "What?" I asked. She didn't answer. Instead, she poked Simon with her elbow and nodded her head in my direction. Simon looked at me. Simon isn't a nickname for anything, it's just Simon. He said, "Oh no." They nodded at each other and then looked at me some more. "What?" I asked again. Rosie said, "There's something going on with you." "Yes, there is," Simon said. "What is it?" "No, there's not." It's nothing," I answered, even though I knew there really was something. "You're having one of your moments," Rosie said. "We can see it in your eyes." "No, I'm not." "Yes, you are, Molly," Simon said. "We've seen this look like 1,000,000 times." Here they are talking in class. "It's the exact same look you got before we jumped into the leaf pile a few weeks ago." "I mean, every single leaf? Seriously?" Rosie pleaded. "Just tell us." "Okay," I said. I knew they were right. This thing was not going to get out of my head. "There's a jar on Principal Shelton's desk. It's the kind of jar my mom uses to make raspberry jam. She gives the jam out at Christmas." "What's so special about the jar on Principal Shelton's desk?" asked Simon. I answered, "It's full of Skittles." "And?" Rosie asked. "I want to know how many Skittles are in that jar," I whispered. I had to be quiet because Mr. Willow doesn't like talking. I'd seen Simon get in trouble enough to know that. He can be a total chatterbox sometimes. Mr. Willow has even called Simon's parents before, and I definitely didn't want that to happen to me. I need to know how many Skittles are in that jar. "You can't sneak into the principal's office, dump out a bunch of Skittles, count them, and then put them back without anyone noticing," Rosie said. "We'll totally get caught." "And totally suspended," Simon added. "I need to know," I said. "It's one thing to not jump into the leaves until every single leaf in the yard is in the pile, Molly," Rosie said, shaking her head. "And then if another leaf falls, we have to stop jumping, go get that leaf, and add it to the pile. But this is different." Simon agreed. "Way different." All I said was, "I need to know." "This could mean like getting into serious trouble at school," Rosie said, still shaking her head. "And at home," added Simon. "I need to know." Rosie looked at Simon. Simon looked at Rosie. Then they both looked at me. We were good friends. Best friends, even. They knew me. They knew nothing would change my mind. "You need to know," Simon said. "I need to know." "Okay," Rosie said. She twirled her hair around her left index finger. I knew this was a good sign. We're going to need a plan. But we couldn't come up with a Skittles snatching and counting strategy right then. That's because Mr. Willow was already walking toward us. "Table 5, he said in a voice a little louder than usual. "Quiet down. Everybody get their composition books out." "Lunchtime," I whispered. "Lunchtime," Rosie and Simon whispered back in unison. So the whole story is about if and how can they get into the principal's office and count those Skittles. Now we're going to draw together. We'll draw a big jar of Skittles, okay? Here we go. Get your pencil and paper. I'll do this step by step. You guys can follow along with me. See how this turns out. I haven't drawn a jar of Skittles lately. That's sort of the lid. Now's the easy part. We're going to start doing all these little flat ovals for the Skittles. So I've been to 45 out of the 50 states doing school visits and meeting kids like Simon and Rosie and Molly. Simon is such a goofball. He's going to get in big trouble in this book. Not big trouble, but trouble. And I've met a lot of silly boys in my travels to schools. And I drew on that experience to kind of shape Simon as a character. One of the things where I can really find a silly boy is when I do questions and answers at the end of my presentations. And boys always have the silliest questions. I was in Humble, Texas, a year ago or so. We can fill this, you can fill the whole jar up, I'm not going to. But I am going to color them in. And I had a boy ask me, "Do you wax your head?" His teachers thought that was kind of a rude thing to ask, but I thought it was funny. So Skittles come in 5 different colors. One of them is purple. One is yellow. I'm sorry that this strange pandemic is going on. There's some yellow ones. But we'll get through it, and I'm glad my publisher is doing this HarperKids at home, so we get to do stuff like this together. There's some green ones. This takes a little time, doesn't it? So after this, after we finish our drawing, we're gonna play a guessing game. Because I filled up a jar of Skittles right over here. You guys can guess how many are inside. Because me and my daughter Lizzie and my son Jacob counted them all. We counted them twice to make sure we were right. Orange. Last one. My hand's getting tired. Red. All right. So we colored in all the Skittles, and then to make it look like glass, I'm going to draw a couple of swishing lines over it like this. And then, because it's a piece of art, you have to sign your name to it. Okay? So, Molly sees a jar, kind of bigger than this one really, full of Skittles. So I'm going to hold that up there, turn it around, you can see the bottom. And you can pause the video if you want to think about how many are in there, because I'm going to tell you exactly how many. Are you ready? 358. That's a lot of Skittles, right? $357. All right, see you guys later.